Hello, my name's Jess, I'm a librarian, and I wanted to do a very short video and answering a question that I've been asked a fair bit recently, and that's what's a journal? So journals, and this isn't the dictionary definition of what a journal is, this is just my interpretation. Journals are academic magazines. They're usually formed from a collection of articles. This ranges massively from just a couple per issue to 20, 30. With the thing you've got to remember with journals is it varies hugely depending on the sector or the subject or the country the journal's from. Journals are, in essence, magazines that are reviewed by academics. So if you imagine that you have a board of academics or researchers or people that are respected within the field, review the articles that are submitted. So you might have one editor with a series of people below them that sit on a panel that advise the editor. You may have an editorial board, so you have a number of people on the board who will look at the submissions to that journal. That board is made up of people who are considered experts in that field, or people who are well established in publishing, or people who are doing research, or it varies massively depending on the sector, on who makes up the editorial board. So you have journals that come out once a year, you have journals that come out every month, you have journals that come out 3 times a year. It depends again on the sector, on the journal itself, on the publisher, on the board. Journals often are described as coming out in volumes and issues, so you might have a journal that comes out 3 volumes a year, and within that volume there is 4 issues. It can be a little bit of a headache when you're trying to reference that, but don't worry too much. It should clearly state on the journal article itself what volume and issue the article is from. So your journal itself will have a number of articles in it. How they are selected is that an academic or a researcher or someone will write an article. The length of the article again will depend very much on what it's about, what sector it's in. Is it a piece of research they're reporting on? Is it a paper that's responding to another paper? Is it a book review? Because they're quite popular in journals as well. And that article will be sent after a call for papers. So a journal will put out a call for papers which says, we want to release an issue of this journal. Give us your stuff. And people will send their work to that journal, to that board of editors. The editors will then read the submissions. Some they will reject straight off and say that's no good for us, we're not interested in that. Some they will say we like your work but we want to make these corrections to it. And it's very, very rare, but sometimes they'll say spot on, that's what we want in our journal. The ones that are chosen then, either after they've been edited or not, will be then put together and made into an issue of the journal. The period of time it takes to do this again varies very much from sector to sector. So it could be that you submit a journal article in January, in March you get feedback saying it's good but change this, this and this and this and this and look this up and include this reference and what have you. And then in August you finally get it, after rewriting and rewriting and rewriting, you finally get it saying perfect, spot on, and it appears in the journal article that November. It could be that it's straight away that it comes out. Again, it massively varies. Why do people want to be published in journal articles? Well, other academics read them, other researchers read them. To be cited, to have other people cite your work, to reference your work in their work, is a mark of prestige in academia. It means that you're part of the wider family of academics, it means you're part of the wider research body, and if the more times you're cited, the more influence that your work often has, or is thought to have. People want to be in journals because it gives them prestige, but also because it allows them to share their work with the wider world. If you've been researching a topic for some time, you want people to know about it. It's part of being a researcher, the joy of sharing that, especially if it's something that's useful or could influence policy or could change the way people live. Why do we want you to cite them? Well, it's the peer reviewing that makes a difference, I think. having a peer-reviewed article means that it has been academically accredited, or at least it should. It shows that you have been judged, as it were, and it also shows that you are looking into the stuff that academics and researchers also are looking into. You can access journals in numerous ways. Some of them are very, very expensive to buy. Quite a lot of libraries will buy them in bundles or packages, so we'll go to a publisher and say we'll buy 50 journals off you for this amount of money. There are thousands of journals all around the world. Journals are also ranked, so you have some journals that are considered top of their game, others not so much, and academics really want to get into the ones that are top of the list. But again, it varies very much depending on your sector. So because of their expense, quite a lot of journals aren't open access, and this is why quite often you'd have to log into your university library in order to access your journal. You speak to your university librarians if you're not sure how to do that. Usually it's going through a third party such as Open Athens, but speak to your library because every single library is different. Some are open access, more and more are growing open access now. That means you can access them for free. You don't have to sign anything, or you don't have to give any money to anybody. These can usually be found on places such as Google Scholar, through journal websites themselves. Quite often academics will include links to their own articles on their own pages, or through pages such as academia.edu. It varies very much from academic to academic, from researcher to researcher. So, to sum up, journals are peer-reviewed collections of research or articles on various topics that have been reviewed by an editorial board, usually made up of peers within that sector. They are mostly highly respected within the fields. Again, that depends very, very much on the journal. They are released either several times a year or less than that. Again, that depends on the journal. When you are citing a journal, it would very much depend on your referencing style as to how you would do that. What I would recommend doing is speaking to your librarians at your university if you're not sure about this or anything to do with using any kind of information resource. Good luck, don't be scared, and remember that the more sources you cite, the more well-read you are, the more you know your subject, and that's why you're at university in the first place. So have some fun.